Welcome to this Unitrends training video. In this session, we'll demonstrate how to configure and deploy automated recovery testing of physical Windows servers. This feature is available when you purchase Unitrends Enterprise Plus Edition, which, as you can see, offers features of scheduled automated recovery testing, automated failover, and RTO/RPO compliance reporting. These features come bundled with Reliable DR, which you receive an unlimited license when you purchase the Unitrends Enterprise Plus Edition. New to version 4.2 of Reliable DR is the ability to provide automated testing of physical Windows servers, which we'll now demonstrate. Before diving into the product screen, let's look at the following configuration diagram. Notice that we have a physical Windows server here that's being backed up to a UEB or Recovery Series appliance. This physical server needs to have the latest 9.0 Windows agent on it. And notice also we have a VMware ESX server here with a number of VMs. We have a vCenter virtual machine. We have this cloned virtual machine which is being backed up by the appliance. And we also have the Reliable DR virtual machine. So notice prior to configuring this test, we have configured the UEB such that the physical server is doing a Windows instant recovery on this VMware ESX server. So we have a virtual client created here that the UEB is keeping up to date with new backups. That is a prerequisite for configuring Reliable DR. So now let's jump into the software. The first thing I'm going to need to do when I bring up the Reliable DR is come down here under Infrastructure and add servers. I'm going to add a UEB server, which I called UEB Source 2. And that's his IP address. Enter his credentials. And test connectivity. Looks good. Next, I'm going to add a vSphere server. Now, it's very important here for these jobs that the vSphere server name here be exactly the same as the vSphere server name in the UEB. So I am going to copy that name and bring it for this server name. Now, if this is a resolvable DNS name, then everything is fine. If it is not, then you will need to go into your Reliable DR virtual machine and make sure that there's a host entry there to resolve this name. And there's a knowledge base article in the Knowledge Center to help you understand how to do that. So I'm going to enter the credentials and click Test. That looks good. So now Reliable DR is going out to that vCenter and gathering all the inventory. The next thing I want to do is come over here to the Jobs menu, and I'm going to add a new job. The type of job I'm going to create is called a Unitrends job. And for the Unitrends job, I pick the UEB and vCenter that I chose earlier. It's going to query that UEB and see that it finds the virtual machine and the Windows Instant Recovery job that I had configured. So I can select those. Now I need to select the vCenter resources that will be used for the automated recovery testing. I choose the compute resource, the data store, the test network, and the production network. I click Next, and here I can specify the schedule for how often I want these recovery certification jobs to run. For now, I'm going to click On Demand. And here I give the job and name. I can choose a service profile. I can choose a script to run after each recovery test. I can choose the number of recovery points to keep for the physical machine, which you can read about in our admin guide. I'm going to leave the defaults and click Finish. Now it has created a job here, but I want to do some customization before I run it. So I'm going to look at the virtual machines here, and I'm going to take this clone virtual machine and change its boot order so that the physical machine boots first. Now I might want to do that if my physical machine, for example, had a database server and the virtual machine depended on it. I could also come and create application tests or add application tests that will run against that virtual machine. I can change networking. I can make the machine critical so that all VMs have to pass the test for the job to be successful. And you can read about these options in our administrative guide. But this is good for the demo, so let's just come back to the summary and click Run. Okay, so we are going out and querying the Recovery Series UEB for information about the virtual machines. And now we are preparing both the physical and virtual machines to get into a state where they are ready to boot. So this is doing VMware Instant Recovery for the VM, and for the Windows Instant Recovery, it's putting it into a state where it's ready to boot. It does this because we have specified the boot order, so we want to get them both ready to boot so we can bring them up in the correct boot order. So let's wait on those to get ready. Okay, so the virtual machines have gotten ready to boot, so now we're going to reconfigure networks and get ready to bring them up in the proper boot order. Here we are, starting with boot order 1, which is the physical machine. And here is boot order 2, which is the virtual machine. Okay, and we've completed those testing, and now we're cleaning up. Okay, here we are complete. So let's come now and check the history reports. So we see this job met our RPO and RTO goals. We can come here in Action and we can configure schedules to have this job sent out via email every time it runs, and so get a compliance as often as we would like about whether or not our physical and virtual machines are meeting their RPO and RTO compliance. Very easy, very cool feature. So let's come back to our slides here and talk about what we've learned. We've shown how to configure automated recovery testing of physical and virtual Windows servers in the same job using Reliable DR 4.2 and Unitrends Backup 9.0. We've shown how these automated tests can include configurable boot ordering and application tests, and reconfiguring of networks as well. And we've shown how the RTO and RPO compliance reports can be sent out after each test. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you for using Unitrends.